there, and welcome to our latest episode of What's on the Horizon. I'm Lori Sharonbrock here with Chris Schucker of Digital Horizons. And we have a great kind of series going here on home theaters. And we sort of use that term, I don't want to say generically, but like what is in a home theater system? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It does get thrown around and has been thrown around for, I guess, decades now.
I'm sure.
About over 20 years ago, one of my early jobs, and probably what propelled me down this path, was I worked in the home theater department at Best Buy.
Ooh.
And I distinctly remember, and I don't feel like they're as much of a thing now as they were back then, or maybe it's just because it's nothing we do.
Sure.
But Best Buy loved slinging what are referred to as home theater in a box systems.
Ooh.
And so for, a measly $300, $500, or I remember some $1,000 systems, you could get a self-contained home theater system. And that was anything from like a surround sound receiver and 6 speakers, or, something less or more than that approximately. But in general, the home theater terminology just comes about where you're trying to recreate what happens in a theater at your home. And so to me, what I would consider a home theater system is basically a display device, whether it's a television or a projector. Projector and a screen, I should clarify. And then a minimum of 6 speakers in what is referred to as a 5.1 configuration. And that 5.1 is made up of 6 speakers, as I mentioned previously. You'll have a left, a center, and a right speaker, which is referred to as the front soundstage. And then you'll have typically a pair of surround speakers behind you, a surround left, a surround right, and then the 0.1 refers to as the subwoofer or the low frequency effects, or LFE. And all of those speakers have a purpose. Placement when it comes to a home theater system or surround sound in general, the placement of those speakers is absolutely critical. Placement is super duper important. Because when they engineer the sound for you to watch at the theater or at home on your home theater system, they're intending for that sound to come from a certain location. And when you, maybe not so much anymore, but if you pop in a Blu-ray disc or VHS tape, I guess VHS technically doesn't have surround sound, but you place your media in or you're streaming it on TV, what you're watching has a portion of it is surround sound, and there's different channels, left, center, right, etc. And if they're not placed correctly, they won't correspond to what's happening on the screen. And so if your left speaker is way off in Timbuktu, and then your right speaker is close to the television, if you have something that is supposed to pan, maybe a car is coming off the screen into frame on the television, it won't sound correct. You'll hear it come in way before it's supposed to, or if it goes off the screen to the right, it won't correspond. At its core, a speaker system is there to expand the television. Because number one, when we're sitting here and you're looking at us on your screen, or you're sitting in front of your television watching a theater, watching a movie, your eyes can only see so much, right? But if you're out in nature or you're at a football game, you're going to hear birds behind you. You're going to hear someone yelling over your shoulder. And so those speakers placed around you where they're supposed to be placed allows the people that are creating these movies and the sound engineers that are taking the audio tracks and mixing them and doing what they need to do, it allows them to extend the screen and put you into the environment that they want you to be experiencing. And so probably for another video, because this can get quite long, and you can tell I'm a huge nerd when it comes to this stuff, as this format has evolved in home theater, they've added additional audio, basically additional audio channels. So that allows you to utilize more speakers to further increase the field in which you experience the movie. And so those additional channels kind of fill in the gaps where the previously mentioned 6 speakers are. You can add these additional channels with more speakers, and so when something is panning around you or they want you to experience more environmental sounds with even speakers above you, it helps increase and enhance the experience of watching the movie.
That was a really I don't know, like a beautiful way to explain that, because I'd never really thought about that before. I think as theaters, like traditional theaters, are less and less, the one just closed up by where we live, like you sort of take for granted the experience that they're actually like trying to get you to feel like not just sitting in your seat, but that there is, I guess my best example of that is like the Jurassic Park movies.
Sure.
Like when you hear the dinosaur coming like in the distance, they intended like that to come from behind or the side or whatever to scare the bejesus out of you.
I literally, you say that and I have goosebumps because it's one of my favorite examples of why a subwoofer is important.
Yes.
Because if you, the other example I give is early on in my audio years, if you will, I added a sound system to my vehicle. And of course, there's a subwoofer involved in that. And I remember listening to like public radio or something, and there was a spirited person at a podium talking, and they pounded their fist on the podium. And I realized at that moment that someone else listening to that without that subwoofer wouldn't have felt the emotion that person was expressing. Like if we were there in person, we would have seen them pound their fist on the podium, and someone driving their car down the road just wouldn't have gotten the same effect.
No.
And so just like when you watch a movie at home, if you don't have a surround system or you don't have a subwoofer or a proper subwoofer that is capable of recreating the sounds, you don't hear the T-Rex in the distance. You don't hear one of my favorite movies to demonstrate this to our clients is a movie called A Quiet Place. And if you haven't seen this, Lori, but when we're done recording, I'll play this. But I could talk about this movie forever because it's a masterpiece. But the movie starts off, or the main scene that I'm showing starts off where the main characters, one of them is a young girl, and another member of her family has the same problem where they're deaf.
Oh yeah.
And the movie is about aliens. Aliens come to the planet, and they track their enemies, human beings, through like a sonar effect, a pinging noise. But when the daughter is deaf, she doesn't know what's around her. She can't hear them doing their little echolocation thing. And there's just this great part in the movie where they're hiding out in a diner, and the monsters are outside just stomping their feet. And the sound engineers did such a great job of elevating the threat level of these aliens by accentuating the stepping noises. And we have two phenomenal 12-inch JL Audio subwoofers in our theater room. And you to your core, like that girl hiding underneath the table in the dining room, you feel the Jurassic Park. You're feeling the aliens outside stomping, and you just truly don't get that experience watching it on just a television, because your TV, because of physics, can't create that sound. And so I really like using that demonstration. The other really part about like I said, I told you I could talk about this forever. The other really cool part I like about that movie is in a home theater system, this is definitely another video topic, is something called dynamic range, where everybody complains about a movie being too loud and too quiet, or they can't hear vocals. And I understand why they feel that way, but in a proper home theater setup, dynamic range is the difference between the quietest sound and the loudest sound. And if you have a proper setup, a proper home theater system, dynamic range allows you to both hear, but the system will allow you to hear spoken word, but then when it's quiet and you hear this contrast of an explosion, it does both. You get the quiet, you get the loud, you get the spoken word, everything works together. And to tie back to what I was about to say is in the movie, because the girl is deaf, there's this faint heartbeat of her that the director and sound engineers put into the movie. And so when there isn't a threat and you're in her perspective and it's kind of quiet because she's deaf, you hear a light heartbeat as if someone were calm and collected. But then as action starts happening, the heartbeat picks up, but the heartbeat is a very quiet, deep bass sound that unless you have a subwoofer,
you won't hear
you don't get to hear. So if you're watching this movie, I've had people come in here and we do a demonstration and they're like, this movie is completely different.
I imagine.
Because you don't hear the heartbeat, you don't hear the dynamic range, you don't hear, it's such a good movie overall. and it's my favorite demonstration because it explains everything of what an actual home theater is.
You almost make me want to watch that movie. I don't super love scary movies, and especially like ones like that. But
Go see it. It's good.
I'm almost tempted to do it.
You should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another. So you love sound, and I love camera work.
Okay.
I was in graduate school. I was a student, and we focused on films by Robert Zemeckis,
Okay. Sure.
which.
Yep.
They do some of the most incredible camera work, and we're some of the first to do certain tricks and whatever. And I love wowing people when I'm like, watch what they do here. That's what I love when I watch movies, is watching what they're able to do with a camera
and
for you to see seamlessly.
The best part about stuff like that, camera work, audio work, dialogue, all of that stuff that goes into making a movie what it is, it has an impact on the audience that the audience doesn't understand.
Sure. I get that.
Like, they'll watch a movie and they'll experience something and they'll appreciate it, but they don't know what it is that they appreciated.
Yeah.
They just know they appreciated it.
Yeah.
And all of those things tie together into the artwork that a movie is.
Yeah.
It's all of it.
We have like 6 topics for you guys. You're going to have to like come back, because I'm already like, oh, I have to ask him about this, because then we'll talk about that. So anyway, thank you for joining us for this discussion, and we'll see you next episode.